Hi everyone. I want to make a video about a Christian here in YouTube, and I don't know if he's going to see my video, and I kind of hope that he doesn't. But I have seen a video that with the name Satan's Guide to the Bible, and Mike Winger he said in his video, his response video to the Satan's Guide to the Bible. And he said that video is dangerous. Yeah, you know, dangerous. Anyway, Mike Winger, he said that I don't even know what he said, but when he said that, anyway, when I saw Mike Winger, I asked, well, he said why it is dangerous, and at the same time, I'm just thinking about the history of Christianity is also filled with violence, and the Bible itself is a book filled with hate because there is a verse in the Bible in King James version that says that the Lord created, or the God from the Bible created light and darkness, peace and evil, that God or the Lord created everything. And it says that the Lord created evil. I don't know what the context is, but it doesn't say that Satan created evil. And if God is so loving, why is there so much evil in the Bible? Why did God allow Satan to test Job? I mean, if someone in my family or a relative of mine would say, destroy Gabriel's life and see that he will still love me, murder all of his family members, and you will see that Gabriel will still love me. And if I would know about that, I wouldn't love that relative. Exactly. I mean, even if it is just a stupid matter. But like I said, I don't know if Mike Winger is going to see this video, but Mike, you said that video is dangerous for Christians, and just think about what Christians has done during the history of mankind. Some Christians are very homophobic, and there are some family members who end their life because of their homosexuality. And in the Bible, there is so much incest. There is so much. I mean, there are stories about incest, cannibalism, zoophilia, and bestiality mentioned in the Bible. I hope that pedophilia is not mentioned in the Bible. And there is also a story that 42 children were actually murdered, and murdered by two bears. And it was just, I mean, they were murdered because they were mocking a prophet and calling him bald. What a loving God would actually allow 42 children to be eaten alive, or murdered by two birds. I mean, I have been bullied before, but I don't wish my bullies to be eaten or murdered by other animals, because I just want them. I mean, I have forgiven them. Even if some of them don't deserve that, I have forgiven them because it happened a long time ago. And it is just wrong to wish someone to die just for calling them bald. Some people have laughed at me in my past, but I don't want them to be murdered by animals. That doesn't make any sense. And the thing with Noah's Ark, what need the animals to deserve to be murdered by a loving God? There are so many questions that has to be answered because of the Bible. And I know that I have raised a couple of questions for Christians in YouTube, but they refuse to answer the questions, or they just ignore me. And what does that say? I mean, it is kind of obvious because they know that the Bible have bloody stories, but they don't want to think about it. And maybe it is because they don't want their faith to be shattered or broken. And I just think that, I mean, when I think about Christianity, they, Christians and some other churches, they did burn ladies and women alive because they believed they were witches. And that is so hateful. And the Crusaders, several hundred years ago, I have heard, but I'm not sure about this, but I have heard that Christians, they murdered the people who didn't want to be Christians with the Crusaders. I haven't checked it up, I have just heard about it. And if that is correct, that is just hateful. And some Christians say that they are really loving, meanwhile they are judging other people to hell. And I mean, religion warps everything, especially if they just want to have power over their subjects. And I just think that is so messed up, because we humans, a lot of us are controlled by fear. And if you are indoctrinated to believe in something, that thing will become real. Even if it's not real, it will become real in the mind of that person. And I do remember that when I was a kid, I was actually, I did believe in a higher being, but I mean, science disprove gods because we know better nowadays. But still, some people want to be guided by a book that is written more than 1900 11 years ago. And if people want to live by the Bible or other holy books, that's fine. But just think about that. The people back then were more primitive, they were more close minded. They weren't that advanced like us in today's society, in today's world. And you can clearly see in the Bible that it is written by man, hateful man. And even if the Bible is written by God, you can see that the God from the Bible is evil. Because a loving God would never murder innocent animals during a flood or innocent people. A loving God would never allow genocide to take place. And yeah, there are so many verses in the Bible that are so messed up. And when I found out that the Bible contains verses about cannibalism, I was disgusted because the story about David and Goliath, after David defeated Goliath, he did cut Goliath's head off. He did bring Goliath's head to a party, and then they celebrated. That is just too graphic. And I think that is even more dangerous than a video, Mike. Because in the video of Satan's Guide to the Bible, you can see that a Christian pastor, preacher, priest, he had a mannequin in front of him. He said that Christians are in a war in today's world. He had a sword, and he did just, he did just push the sword through the mannequin's chest. And I think that is too graphic to children. And if I would be in a church that claims to be loving and I would see something like that, I would just get out of there, because that Christian preacher, he did just put the sword through the mannequin's chest. And that is not an act of love, that is an act of evil, Mike. And Mike, you just have to be more open-minded. And I know that it is truly difficult because this is about your belief. And I just think that every single religion have great things, but every single religion have such bloody history, because the God from the Bible is not loving, it is an evil God. Because in that verse it says that God created evil, and a loving God would never create evil. And let's say that the Christians who are watching this, if you care about the Bible and if you love God, if you live in fear of being in hell, should you even worship a God that will punish you in hell just for not believing in Him? This is just my take on this. Have a nice day. Ciao.